I'm Ryan Milton from TeamFFLEX, and today I want to sit here and talk with you a little bit about how to know if you're doing your contest prep the wrong way, specifically for divisions like Fit Model, for Bikini, for Wellness, Figure, things like this, right? This is a big issue in the industry. There's a lot of mixed communications and ideas, and anybody who's been paying attention to this sport at all, there's the horror stories and the terrible things you hear and see about prep and what's normal, what's not. Well, hopefully I'll give you better insight into the video today. And I'm just shooting it. I'm going straight from here. There's no specific plan. I want to talk genuinely to you, the audience, watching here, you, the individual, to you, about what I know from my experience as a coach. Been doing this a long time. I've coached, thousands and thousands of athletes at this point over the years across many successful stages. And I've learned a lot too from, seeing what else goes on in the industry, hearing stories of those coming onto my team and working with me and so on and so forth. So a couple things you need to consider when you get into a contest prep, no matter what, right? And it can be for any division that I mentioned, or really any division. There is a potential extreme side to the sport of bodybuilding. There's just the way it is. It's with everything, especially any sport. There's the ability to push it too far and to do too much and to go too there. And then you're dealing with negatives. You're dealing with side effects. You're dealing with issues, problems that can arise from that, injuries or metabolic damage, hormone damage, things like this that are specific to that. But you can think of it, for lack of a better word, kind of like a barbell squat. All you watching have done a barbell squat, I'm sure. And if you haven't, you'd be skipping leg day. You better get on that. But, most of us have. When you go do a barbell squat, you know that there's a certain amount of weight you're going to put on that bar for your 8 reps, your 10 reps, whatever it is. Okay. And for whatever, let's just say for the sake of this video, you're squatting 135 or something like that for 8 reps. Okay, great. Well, you would be silly to go load that bar with 400 pounds and try to squat that for 800 reps. Why? Because it would just injure you, right? You would try to squat that weight. You would put it on your back and boom, crumble under it, probably mess up your back, mess up your hips. Who knows what would break, but something would break. And that's the same with bodybuilding, right? It's the same kind of an idea, right? You can do this sport, you can compete, and you can do it with your health in mind. You can do it without causing damage to your body. You can do it without any of those problems. Or if you're coached the wrong way, or you are, not understanding all the variables, kind of, don't have that education, in other words, that experience, in other words, of these things, you can end up doing too much yourself. And then again, you're the one trying to squat 400 pounds and crumbling under that weight eventually, when you're not supposed to be doing that, right? And that's the same kind of thing we're talking about with this sport. So I'm always the first one to say, yeah, you absolutely can't compete without any of those problems, without causing yourself health issues, without messing up your hormones, damaging your metabolism, dealing with any of the quote unquote normal issues of contest prep. But with that being said, there is a lot of what's out there that coaches, they love putting people on plans that are going to be easy for them. Okay. That's a big part of the industry. Like when I'm working with a client, it's very, very in depth. I build out their training. I build out their nutrition. I build all of it out custom to them, for them. And then I'm coaching, monitoring, watching, adapting, changing, doing whatever needs to be done to work with that person one-on-one. I tell my athletes, when you sign up with me, your goals are my goals, and I'm working with you to achieve those. I take those seriously as if it's my own personal goal, because it is. When you get a coach, that's the way I think it should be. You should have somebody there willing to fight with you, to work with you to achieve those goals. Unfortunately, though, as most things that are online, right? Everybody knows this. You can buy the knockoff brand of things on Amazon, and then it breaks 3 days later, whatever. Or you can go to the best. Either way, though, the online world is full of things that are always going to be less than ideal. And in the coaching space, this is a big problem, because there's a lot of coaches that, again, they love the idea of simple plans, okay? So simple plans would entail, like, let's say somebody watching this video wants to sign up with me. They're like, hey, you know what? This guy makes sense. I like what he's talking about. I want to do a prep. Well, a simple thing for me to do would be to say, all right, I'll sign up every single person that would want to sign up based on this video, and I'll put them all on the exact same program. I have my one bikini workout that I've built, and you're going to get it, and you're going to get my one bikini meal plan, and that's going to be great. And I'm going to give you 2 hours of cardio a day, and then I'm going to tell you to take this steroid, this PED, that one, this supplement, that one that I'm also getting a kickback on, and then boom, you're good to go, right? I got paid, and that's the way it is. Unfortunately, That sounds terrible, as I say in the video, like it almost hurt me to even say it, but that is unfortunately how most of our industry works with a lot of online coaches, influencers, things like that, right? It's a lot about dollar signs and about volume and about finding those people that they can basically burn out, right? Like give them all the same things, just put them on there, get paid, but not actually have to worry about the result. And the reason that a lot of these coaching practices end up being so extreme are simply because of that. If somebody comes and they pay you money to coach them, they expect results. All of you watching, if you were to hire a coach, you would expect results. You're not just hiring a coach for fun. You have a goal. You have results that you want to get. You would expect hiring XYZ coach going to get you there, right? So by putting, everybody on a very extreme regimen, let's say way too much time in the gym, could be an hour and a half, 2 hours in the gym, coupled with an hour of cardio in the morning, hour of cardio in the evening, coupled with a very low calorie diet. And, somebody says they want to lose weight. Great. Well, that may happen if that person can stick to it, no doubt. But what's the side effect, right? Like, what is the issue that could occur? What damage could that be doing? What is the negative of that? And that's what really ends up always creeping up, right? Because anybody's body can adapt to very extreme things for a short period of time before it breaks, right? Like, again, going back to my squat analogy, there may be a short second where you actually could unrack that weight with the 400 pounds and then boom, you're going to crumble, right? So it's the same with everything else. Coaches love doing that though, because they can throw athletes on these very extreme things. And then, the scale went down this week. Good. All right, cool. Well, now they're getting paid again, back to it. They can, go find more high volume people to sign up, blah, 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 blah. Do the same thing too. So it's not a good measure at all for you, but it is a great measure for a coach who wants to make money and do those types of things, right? So for me, I don't believe in that. I think that's the wrong way to do things. I believe in very customized coaching, and having that be the case for how people get results. I've always said it, even if you had an identical twin, that person is likely not going to respond to everything the same. If you had the same training, the same nutrition, the same this and that, there's individual differences that don't change. So why are we not out here training different anyway, right? And me, as somebody who's worked with, many people over the years, thousands, I can tell you for sure that, I've seen a wide variety in what works for people. And that's because of their individuality, right? I mean, what sounds good on paper oftentimes isn't practically what's going to work for someone. You really have to find out what is going to work for that person, fine tune it and work with them to figure out what's going to work. And a lot of that also too is their feedback, right? Like, let's say somebody signs up with me. I go build them out a program that I think is going to be great. I spent all this time building this training, this nutrition, doing all this and that. It might have an exercise in it like deadlifts or something like that, right? And then I might get a message right after, hey, built your program, here it is. Let me know if you have any questions. Super excited to get things going, things like that. I get a message back, hey, yeah, I can't do deadlifts actually. I have an issue with my back. Every time I do it, it hurts this and that. Well, in the old analogy, right, a lot of coaches say, too bad, good luck, my way or the highway, see you later. For me, I say, oh, absolutely. Well, I got 1,000 tools in my shed. Let me go build you the program that you need, right? Like, let me just adjust that. I don't need that deadlift then. Get rid of that deadlift. If that deadlift's going to hurt your back, why am I putting that deadlift in your program, right? And that's, again, my philosophy with things. I'll adjust it. I'll adapt it. I got 1,000 ways to get those results. So let's just do that. And, that's the key. Or maybe you don't like a certain type of diet, or you're doing this and that doesn't feel right. And, these things can be adjusted, adapted. The real true coaching that takes place is the key to results for most people. And unfortunately, that's not what many are getting, right? So if you're doing your contest prep, and to give you better bullet points here, because I'm kind of just, yapping. If you're hanging out with me this long, thank you. I appreciate it so much. I mean, I make these videos to hopefully help you all. So hopefully that's what this is doing. But basically, one, you don't want generic stuff, okay? If you got a generic plan, it's not going to work. It may work for a very short time. It's better than doing nothing. Don't get me wrong, but it's not good. It's not going to get you the results you need, especially if you have high level goals with competing, things you want to do, such as win your show, get an overall, go get a pro card, place high to pro show, whatever it is. You can't have the generics. It just doesn't work. You have to really find what's going to work for you. And, first step to that, in my opinion, is getting a coach that's going to give you customization, right? Somebody who's going to build these programs out for you and fit it to you, your goals, your physique, your feedback, all that stuff. That's got to be critical. That's got to be the first step. Training is not as simple as just lifting a weight. It's really not when it comes to bodybuilding. As you know, any of the divisions I mentioned, such as fit model, for bikini, for wellness, for figure, any of these, they all have very different criteria and a very different way you'd have to train. Very different look. And then you got to justify, in other words, that there's individual differences for every single person that you have to also meet. So there's a lot of things that go into the training that's very, very important. And same with the nutrition, right? So you want to have these customization variables in these involved. Some athletes, some clients do better with meal plans. Some do better with macros. Some do better with a hybrid approach. Some do better with whatever, right? It's an individual difference that has to be addressed. And when you address those things, it's going to be better. You might be doing your contest prep wrong if you don't have those, right? If you just get, oh, here's the one bikini meal plan that, everybody has. Here's the one training program everybody has. All right, it might be okay to start with. It's not going to get you where you want to be in the end. And a lot of times, these meal plans especially can be very detrimental because they're ignoring vital nutrients. They're, not putting somebody in the right spot to be able to get those nutrients. They're very low calorie. Yeah, that's a major red flag. Number 2, low calories. That's the other thing, right? If you're doing your prep and you start with very low calories, problem, big deal, big issue. Yes, you're dieting on prep. Yes, you probably have stage level conditioning to meet based on where you're at. If your calories are very low, though, that's an issue. That is not normal. It is unfortunate that many coaches coach with calories that are like 500, 600, 800 a day, things like that for women. That is terrible. That is not a diet. That is starvation. That is not healthy for you. That is doing you a lot of bad damage to your body, to your hormones, to your metabolism, to your health as a human being for now and for maybe for years, for the rest of your life sometimes. I've seen, people develop very severe issues that are lifelong medical conditions from doing contest prep in the extremity regions of dieting that hard and doing things like that. Like it becomes, they mess their hormones up so bad they have to be on hormone treatments the rest of their life. They mess their metabolism up so bad they have to, do this certain thing and just take this medical whatever to even fix their problems. Or, literally sometimes you do develop like permanent organ damage and issues that are irreversible, that are now a side effect of trying to do a prep, which sounds so wrong to me, right? That's even the case. So again, very low calorie diets, run away from that. Don't even start doing that. If you see that, hey, I want a refund, get me the hell out of here. I am not doing that. That is not good. Coach Rice says so. Sorry, see you later. Because at the end of the day, just no way to do it. And nutrition is such an important thing. It's got to be very, closely addressed to make sure that it's going to be the thing that's going to get you where you need to be. And that also taking care of your health, taking care of your wellness, your longevity. I know no competitors want to hear this, but there will come a day you hang up the heels when you're done competing and you want to continue to live your life healthily and, enjoy your life. So you don't want to do extreme crazy things just because some coach tells you to. That may have very significant side effects for the rest of your life. So avoid that. Don't do that. Don't get into that at any cost. Okay. Do not do the starvation diet. The next biggest thing, you might be doing your prep wrong if you have a lot of cardio going on, especially right away. So like I said, a lot of coaches like to pile on the cardio. It's not uncommon to hear 2 hours of cardio a day, where one's fasted in the morning, one's in the evening at this. It's crazy. You don't need that much cardio, especially not for divisions like I mentioned. Most people are never going to need anywhere near that cardio. I've never had to give that amount of cardio to a competitor in my entire career. Okay. I mean, it's really unreasonable to say that, but it's very easy autopilot for the coach again, or whoever's suggesting this to say, yeah, just do that. Because I mean, if anybody knows, more activity is going to have some type of a result. And again, if there's some type of a result, they can keep getting paid, right? That's the whole motivation for a lot of what is being done in the coaching industry, unfortunately. And with that, you don't want to be doing that. So if you start a prep with some coach and all of a sudden, hey, yeah, here's your fasted cardio, here's this and that. You got to know why, that's not how it should start. That's not the normal. If you're already dieting and you're already training, why do you need 2 more hours of cardio a day? It's overkill. And it, again, will give you a lot of health problems. It'll shut down the metabolism, shut down the hormones, do all kinds of issues, and it'll basically take away your whole life at this point too. You're doing a prep that not only now is affecting your body physically, it's affecting every other area of your life. It's not uncommon to hear Competitors have relationship issues, career issues, job issues, family issues, all these other problems that are kind of happening in their life. And it's because of this. If you're going to the gym 2 hours lifting weights, and then you're doing 2 hours of cardio a day, and then you're trying to stick to 500 calories a day, I mean, your whole day is gone, just wasted on trying to be a competitor, doing things you don't need to be doing, right? And that has a very significant effect to your mental health, your overall well-being, overall, function as a human being, far more than is factored in any of those other areas. So it's really important to consider that. Yeah, you hear competitors say, oh yeah, the grind, whatever. I'm dealing with it. I got it. I'm tired, but I'm pushing through. Well, if you're pushing through, but you're dropping the ball in every other area of your life, there's going to be a time again when that show's over, when, you're done competing for good eventually, sometime down the line. And, all those things, you'll have a whole void life around you because, you did these things incorrectly. So no need for that much cardio. I would not suggest it. I do not, if you got a coach that's telling you to do that, big red flag, big issue. Don't be getting involved with that much cardio. For me, for example, when I take an athlete on, I'll set them up with training and nutrition that fits their goals, whether that be building muscle or prep or dieting or whatever it is. For one, I'm never putting on starvation diets. Don't do that ever. Never had to do it. Don't want to do it. Wouldn't even do it. I would just tell my athletes, hey, you know what? We got to adjust this and that. We're going to do this and that. And we're going to change our timelines. We're doing whatever. We're not doing a starvation diet. Sorry, won't do it. Because I just don't believe in fundamentally, harming someone's health, which again, it hurts to even say that that's something I have to say, but that's the truth of the industry we're in, unfortunately. When it comes to, cardio, I say, hey, that's an add-on. That's something we will bring if we need to. And to be straight up honest, most of my athletes, they're going to have a couple HIIT sessions a week, maybe. Some have absolutely zero cardio, but I'm not going to pretend that's everybody. It's not. Some people can get away with that, though, just through training and diet. And if that's you, that's awesome. Good. Don't be doing no cardio. Why are you doing cardio if you don't need it, right? And then, occasionally there's going to be people that may require extra, or they choose to do that. They like cardio and they want it in their plan, whatever. But never to the tune of 2 hours a day, never to the tune of 1 hour fast, one this. And I don't do that. There's no reason to do that. I don't have to do that. Never had to do that. And you don't either. Okay. That's what I'm saying. As a coach with experience, as somebody who's doing this, who's prepping people all the time, if you're out here trying to figure this out for yourself, or you're out here with a coach that you're like, I don't know if this is working right. I don't know if this is how it should be. I'm telling you, here's some simple factors that you really got to consider. That will inevitably lead to issues down the road, right? Like a lot of people end up quitting competing. A lot of women quit competing because they get health issues. They get a lot of problems that, it causes issues for the rest of their life. And they're like, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to be a competitor. This is terrible. Not to mention, by the way, the mental turmoil that you face by doing that agenda that I just talked about, right? Like the struggle, the grind, the misery of prep that, is somehow kind of glorified in this sport, but also is absolutely unnecessary and mostly detrimental, right? Like it's a big problem that you can get into that mode where, oh, okay, well, just 1 more hour of cardio to go. All right, I'll just eat 500 calories today. All right, I'm grinding, I'm doing it. You're not doing it for any sake of anything good. And if you can do it without doing any of that, and you're not doing that, then that's just kind of silly, right? It's a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of effort, and also risking your health and longevity of your health for life. So it's not a good idea. It's not a good thing. The next biggest, you might be having a problem with the way you're doing your contest prep would be if these are the only things you're focused on. If these are the only things your coach has you focused on in any kind of way, right? Where it's like training, nutrition, and cardio, and that's it. That's a big problem because that is not the only thing that is related in prep, not the only thing you need to look at. You need to look at timelines. You need to look at shows. You need to look at how to get your tan, how to get your suit, how to get your, this and that, how to pose, your stage presentation, whatever things. I mean, there's so many things with this that are so far beyond just training and diet. Like it's not a training and a dieting competition, folks. It's a bodybuilding show. You got to be ready to do those things. You got to know those variables. So again, coaches may or may not want to dive into all that because they don't want to have conversations and deal with all these individual things. They want to get paid and move on. It's a big issue, though, if you don't know those things. The amount of competitors I've seen go to stage that maybe they pulled off their prep, spent a ton of money on it, by the way, and then didn't know how to pose when they got there because it wasn't addressed. That's a major concern. So, again, that's another thing where if you don't have those types of communications around other things, helping you select your show, helping you pose, posing sessions, all that stuff, major red flags, right? On my team, for example, TeamFFLEX, when we have competitors come on board, they sign up for training packages, are coaching options, in other words, that contain posing sessions. They get posing sessions because I literally know it's so important. I will make sure it's built in. You will have to do it because there's no other way around that, right? Like, I won't just train you or diet you because there's no point to do that. There's no outcome in the end there. We got to get the whole thing. So that's another major one. The last one that I want to talk about today, and I could keep going on forever, by the way. If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. If you like this type of content, you like this video, this is giving you insights, ideas, let me know in the comments that you want more, and I'll do more of these kind of long form, just chat with you videos. I love to do this stuff. I like to make these for you, and hopefully, you can get a lot more out of it. So that's the case. Really, what I was going to say lastly here, I kind of lost my connection for a second. I guess I've been talking a long time, but lastly, what I was going to say is, getting PEDs, steroids, all these crazy compounds, all this stuff suggested to you. Major red flag for all the divisions I just spoke about. Fit model, bikini, wellness, even figure, especially at the amateur level. You can do this without any of that stuff. You should do this. You should do this naturally. You absolutely should. And the reason goes immense, okay? Everybody loves AI these days, right? So if you have an AI app on your phone, ChatGPT or whatever, right, go type in what are side effects of steroids for women, bodybuilding steroids for women. Go do this. Seriously. Many of you watching probably have not learned a lot about this or have been told different things by different coaches or seen different things. Go put that in and you will learn an incredible amount of things that will happen to your body no matter what when you introduce these things. So it's really not a good idea. It's a big problem, and it's not required, right? Like, I know all of the top judges in this industry. I know, the shows and everything. I've been a major sponsor of these events for a long time. I've done these types of things. And what is echoed all the time at many, probably all seminars that are conducted by any of the judges is that, like, hey, you don't need that type of stuff for those questions come up. Competitors wonder. I'm sure you've wondered. I'm sure you've considered it. I'm sure maybe some of you even been told you needed it or even did it. But the point is, you don't have to. You definitely don't have to. For these divisions, for these requirements, you do not need these types of things. You need good training. You need good nutrition. You need a good coach. That's what you need. If you think you need PEDs and steroids and all this and that, I'll tell you, you're missing probably one of those things. You're probably one of the people that's been doing all the mistakes of prep, and you probably have this as the icing on the cake because that's just what tends to be the case. Because, again, coaches love to throw competitors on steroids, PEDs, whatever. Because, again, it makes results happen no matter what with no work, nothing they need to do, nothing they need to adjust, nothing they need to coach because they're putting you on these compounds that are going to change your body compounds, right? So again, major issue for your health, major issue for, everything in longevity. And it's, again, very detrimental, probably the most detrimental thing, especially because these coaches that are suggesting, take this amount, take this, take that, they're not able to do that, right? Like, they're not licensed medical professionals. They're not people that can prescribe these things. They're not people that can do that in any way, monitoring your health or whatsoever. And again, we lead down the road to many issues when those things come into play. We lead to many health problems, many overall just, very detrimental things most of the time. And that, again, you just don't even need it for these divisions. It's not a requirement. You shouldn't do that. There's absolutely no reason to do it. I'm a huge advocate of natural bodybuilding, and I think you should be too, for all the reasons I just mentioned. But literally, go put that in on ChatGPT or whatever, AI everybody's using these days. You'll learn a lot and it'll blow your mind. Right. And like, that's just that's like one little thing, but you'll never hear this stuff being told to you. Right. And most people don't even know. Sometimes they think it's a supplement they're getting told they're put on. Like, if your coach has given you special supplements, you got to figure out what the heck that is. Right. There's detrimental effects. There's a cause and effect to every single thing that you do in the sport of bodybuilding and competing. And there's going to be an outcome either way. That outcome could be that you did it the right way and you got to the result that you wanted. You won your competition. You did all that and you're healthy and you're operating well and you can enjoy every area of your life and you can go to the future and not have any problems. Or it can be the opposite. It can be that you did all the extremes, you did whatever it takes, so to speak, as many like to say, and you took all the steroids, you took all the things, you did all the cardios, you did everything else, but you probably still didn't get where you wanted to be in the sport. You definitely didn't maintain the longevity of it. You probably had a lot of health issues, and you may have lost grasp on the entire rest of your life during those times because of everything I just mentioned. So very detrimental to do it one way, very beneficial to do it the other way. My mission is to bring health back to bodybuilding. That's what I do. That's what I want to do. I want to help people do that. I want to help women do that specifically. I want to make sure that there is a place in this industry for people to compete without any of that bullshit, like no other better way to say it. So you can get results, you can get where you want to be, you can achieve those goals, and you can do it without the detriment. And that's very important to me, and that's why I make these long videos. So hopefully you got something out of this today. If you enjoyed that, subscribe, hang out. I got a lot more coming. Let me know in the comments if you agree, you want more content like this, or not. If you don't like it, like, hey, Coach Ryan, we just prefer the reviews, let me know. All right. I'm happy to do whatever you want. Thank you for watching. Coach Ryan is out.